Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, SimSen Talk. Some of you would have heard what happened at the BAFTA Awards. Lord have mercy. Guys, we have basically two amazing black actors. We had Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. And while they were announcing about to give an award out, the N word was clearly heard quite loudly. As you can see, unless you can't, but I'm sure you can find out from the description of the video, I am a black lady. So of course, when I hear most people, when they hear that word, it's offensive. And I'm not going to get into the whole, some of the American culture that may say it as part of their daily sentences. Maybe amongst each other, I'm not sure, but it's an offensive term, guys, okay? I have to say, of course, this is a channel about raising awareness about disability. So I have to give a balance here. Right, let me just get into it. So this was shouted out by someone called John Davidson. So I've seen loads and loads and loads of videos, people. I want to big out Topical Juice, because what I like about him is that he gives a very balanced view, whereas some other channels, they went straight into this is racism. And I feel like what I enjoyed about watching his video is that he gave the description, he explained what Tourette's syndrome or condition is, and he balanced things very well. He's very articulate. So guys, let me read out to you. So it's something called cropulalia. Okay, so I'm going to read it out to you. This is via Google. Cropulalia is the involuntary, uncontrollable utterance of obscene, taboo, or socially inappropriate words and phrases, most commonly associated as a symptom of Tourette syndrome, affecting roughly 10 to 30% of people with Tourette's. These verbal tics are unintentionally often disruptive and can include slurs or derogatory remarks. So bear that in mind, guys. So about 16 hours ago, John Davidson, who was there in regards to his film, I Swear, has had an interview, has given an interview, should I say. And what I'm pleased to hear is that he has reached out to the actors, and I really hope this is genuine. I will put the reference of where the interview, where I found it. But it just basically says, John Davidson gives first interview and explains the Tourette's tic after shouting the N-word and other slurs at the BAFTAs. And what it says is, I felt a wave of shame. So I'm not going to read all of it, guys. It is very long. As I said, I'll put a reference in. But basically, he was saying that he's reached out to the actors and he's apologized. He shouted out at least 10 offensive tics, but the focus is on this one because I guess it's the worst one. He said that he was about 10 rows back and he didn't think that basically his tics could be heard. And then he realized that at the side there was a microphone. So it's almost like he's reflecting, maybe that wasn't the best place to sit, but at the same time, there was times where he had felt very isolated growing up because of his tics that he's had for over 40 years. And so I guess he's got to that age of maturity now where he's like, I want to be there for my film or documentary, I deserve to be there. But then he explains how the more nervous he got, the more he felt this build up of this tick was coming. Now, I have heard other content creators say, um, well, you know what your ticks are, so you should have just, to protect other people, um, sit somewhere else, be in a room by yourself. And even another content creator who I absolutely admire, um, there was something that she mentioned yesterday or the day before, which actually, as a Sen parent, did impact me. You know, we got to have a thick skin anyway, but it was something along the lines of, if you have a disability and it's going to make the majority uncomfortable, then they need to be somewhere else. The majority wins. And I messaged to say, I wrote a comment to say the majority always wins. And guys, I'm not trying to underplay this. Look at my color, come on. But the majority always wins. The amount of times I've had to fight for my child to have a space with others, yeah, whether it's the looks, whether it's and there's been times when my son has done stuff, things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you literally want the ground to open up and swallow you, yeah? Or you wish that time would go back where you could be like, oh, wish I could know what's happening next, and then we could completely remove him from that situation. So, guys, I'm really thankful that he's reached out to apologize. You know, even though he's not apologizing for his disability, he's apologizing for the word, the slur, the racial slur that came out, because it made both actors, in fact, not just the actors, let's be real here, each one of us that it could impact. You know, you're like, oh, okay, if we were there, you'd be like, what the heck? So I'm glad he has apologized, because that makes people uncomfortable. And I'm not being funny. There's a lot of unrest out there, isn't it? Let's be 100. Let's be real. Everyone seems a lot more angry, a lot more. How can I put it? People out there don't seem as tolerant as they used to be. Me and my friend, we were trying to work out, what is it, what is it, like, I'm not saying life was perfect years and years ago, but I don't know, people just seem to be a lot angrier. And when you have, I guess, a president as well who shows images of the former respected president looking like apes or gorillas or whatever it was, it's going to have people on edge. And in America, the saying is, if America, for example, sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. So we are all connected in some ways, and the internet allows us to connect even more closely. So I'm just trying to spread awareness to what this is. He's saying it doesn't reflect him being racist. He's saying he feels ashamed. He's apologized. But who I've got beef with is the BBC. Because why would the BBC, knowing that there's a bit of a 10-second delay so that they can mute or whatever they need to do, that section, why wasn't that done? But if someone shouts out free Palestine, they're going to make sure they mute it. But the N word, oh, I mean, what are you doing? You're in the studios, you're in the back room, and you hear that, and you've got seconds before to mute it, and you think, oh, it's all right. It's not okay. So my frustration is more with the BBC. I'll be honest, I need to see if there's an update from the BAFTAs. What have they said? But I'm really happy to hear that he's apologizing as well, guys. There's an image of Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, who, you know, they look very embarrassed. They look very uncomfortable. That is a normal reaction. That is a normal reaction. And no one can really tell them or us how to feel, because in that moment, it didn't feel great. Okay? I'd love to hear anyone's comments out there. You may agree, you may disagree. Do you know what? I'm very much about hearing people's views. Even when I go live, There might be some people that might not agree with me. It's cool. At the end of the day, everyone has their own views. But for me, I think it's important to add some context to what this condition is. I know he doesn't want to class it as a disability, whatever you want to class it as, but there's some impairment there, which obviously he was not in control of. Yeah. So, guys, it's not a sprint, but it's a marathon, and we're in this together. Goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Come on, guys. Look, if this is your second or third time watching me, you know what to do.